Hey, how you doing? My name is Amir Glenn, and I'm the co-founder of Wealth Beacon Group Foundation. Welcome to Shine Academy. Shine stands for Smart Habits, Inspiring Next Level Excellence. And today is another step towards you building the future you deserve. Let's grow, let's learn, let's shine together.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Outlaw. I am from Connects Credit Union, and I am so happy to be here with Wealth Beacon for the Shine Academy Financial Empowerment Series. So if you signed up, you're probably already aware, those of us who are online, this is a 6-week series. This is financial literacy to give you some foundation, answer questions, common questions, and really go through some things to help, one, change your money mindset, and we'll talk about that when we start. And two, I really would love for people to feel empowered by the time we're done with this. What's wonderful about this particular program is that Connects Credit Union has partnered with Wealth Beacon, and the 6-week that we have this session will actually be a mobile banking event, meaning the branch is coming to you here at the Stetson Library. So if you kind of hang with us for the whole 6 weeks, the mobile banking event, Connects will actually sponsor your membership to Connects Credit Union if you decide that you would love to bank with us. And I hope that you do. Is this an advertisement for Connects? Kind of, but not really. It's really more about you and your questions and where you are and really achieving the goals that you have financially. All right. So I have one housekeeping rule and one housekeeping rule only. Please, even those who are online, if you have a question, comment, concern, I repeat, do not wait until the end. Ask me immediately. All right. I want you to interrupt me and I want you to ask me what that question is because somebody else might have the same question. Now, for those of you who have attended my financial empowerment or financial workshops before here and there, this is more, how should I say, Amir, what should we call this? This is more like, it's empowerment, but it's also more cohesive. It's really gonna each week lead you into the next. And I have next steps at the end of each week. Okay. So we're about to get started. And for my people online, please, drop your comments or questions in the chat. Amir or Yvette will let me know, and I'll be more than happy to bring that into place here. All right. So what we will discuss for this week, we will be discussing banks versus credit unions, bank accounts, checks, and cards. What is fintech, wealth pyramid and budgeting? Actually, this right here, wealth pyramid and budgeting, we're just going to kind of focus on the wealth pyramid. Budgeting is going to be next week. And all about credit will be the week after, advocacy and support. So those are the things that we'll be going over. Amir, did you want to say a couple words before we dug into the workshop? Are you ready? Okay, he's ready to go. All right. So what does money mean to you? I don't think that this actually makes any sense if we don't actually address how you think about money. So I'm going to be honest with you today. This is actually my third workshop of the day. And I have asked this question and a lot of different people have different answers. But some of those answers are similar. So if I had to ask you right now, if I said the word money, what is the immediate reaction that you have when I say money? What's the emotion that pops up or the word that pops up when I say money? And bills. Okay. That is like the umpteenth time I've heard that. Bills. And how do bills make you feel?
Not good.
Not good?
Not good.
Stressed? How many other people feel stressed?
Yes.
Okay. She was like, yes, honey. Yes. All right. What else do we feel? Yes.
I feel it's like down the middle. Happy on one side, sad on the other side. Having a lot of money, having no money.
Okay. So depending on how much is where,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Any other emotions that pop up for you? Emotions. Frustrated. Anything else? Here's the reason why I want you to actually name. Yes, go ahead.
I would say some emotion, but
Like it's never enough. Like that's the narrative.
Okay, so anxious.
Yeah.
You feel anxiety about it because it's never enough. You never have enough that you need. Okay, that's fair. All right. So here's the reason why I start with this before I start explaining anything. In America, specifically, American society, we take money and we make that our value instead of separating it and treating it like a tool. So what happens is however much money you have in the bank actually communicates how you feel about yourself. Am I wrong or am I right? Okay. If you got a lot of money in the bank, you saving, you feeling good about yourself, you're feeling good. If an emergency happens, you don't have enough, how do you feel? Frustrated, right? And then it becomes a focus on, I just need to get enough money. I just need to get enough money. I just need to get enough money. What if I separated all of that right now? And I says, we're going to separate your value, your identity from money. How would you treat money? How would your spending habits change? Smarter. Because the way we spend money is actually emotional. It has nothing to do with whether or not you have enough or don't. It has to do with the fact that how you feel determines how you spend. For instance, I was very stressed out last week. I ended up in Wingstop. Okay. French fries were necessary. Okay. That's how stressed out the week was. All right. I'm being real. That was an emotional decision, right? French fries do not equal my goals of going to the gym the next morning, right? So French fries was not a part of my plan. But I was stressed out. That was an emotional reaction to how I was feeling versus actually deciding that my goals are more important than how I feel. Okay. So instead of short term, I want you all to think long term. And the only way to do that is to actually apply purpose to your funds. If you just have money sitting in the bank waiting for you, what you going to do with it eventually? Amazon, anybody? Shein? Okay. Where are we at? Where we at? What Gap? Old Navy? That Old Navy cash bring you back every time, right? Okay. So what happens is if it's just sitting there without a purpose, guess what? It will be spent. So I want you to be able to define your money story, and I want you to be able to do that without making sure that it actually reflects your identity. You are enough because you exist. Money does not give that to you. All right. So let's move into it. Banks versus credit unions. So how many people are familiar with credit unions? How many people have banked with a credit union? Okay. So how you feel about credit unions? Okay, love, which I love to hear, right? I like it better. I heard that. Don't think I caught that, right? My people online, is anybody familiar with credit unions versus banks? No? Okay. So the biggest difference between the two, this right here, they're for profit. Credit unions, all credit unions, the makeup of a credit union is actually nonprofit. They're all organizations, meaning they are not publicly traded. But your national banks, your biggest banks in America are publicly traded. Now, don't get me wrong. They both operate the same way. They both make money the same way, but the bank got to pay a shareholder. The credit union's obligation is to its members. So the mission is different. Okay. Now, how does that translate? I like to bring this into, now I have not created a slide for this spiel we're about to go on, this journey that we're about to go on that I like to call the financial ecosystem. Now, for those online, financial ecosystem is not an official term. That's a Christina made up term. Okay. So don't walk into a bank saying that. All right. So financial ecosystem is actually how financial industry works. Okay. Is anybody familiar how a bank or credit union or an investment bank actually makes its money? There's three main ways. Is anybody familiar? You just put the money in and walk away, huh? You know that you can swipe that card though, right? Okay. There's three ways. The first way starts with an I. Interest rate. That loan you took out, that credit card, that mortgage, the auto loan, all of those have interest, and the interest is the profit. Now, if all of us put $1,000 in, say, the Bank of Stetson, okay, make believe Bank of Stetson, we all put $1,000 into the bank, right? And what is your name? Jocelyn, I love your frames, by the way, which is why I picked you. So Jocelyn needs a loan from the Bank of Stetson. How much loan you need? You gonna go away on vacation Thursday to Tuesday? $1,000 Thursday to 50,000. Jocelyn's expensive, people. Okay, that's more than what the bank got. Okay, so let's stick with your original answer, $1,000. So Jocelyn needs $1,000. There's roughly about 12 people in here. The Bank of Stetson is going to give her that $1,000 based on three things. And this is a simplified way of thinking of it, but this is a good way to move forward. Number one, her relationship with the Bank of Stetson. Relationship is key, okay? Relationship means how long have you been with that institution? Have you been positive in your accounts? Are they all in good standing? Two, the second one is assets. She has multiple accounts at the Bank of Stetson. I mean, they can't really reach into your account and take out what they want. You have to physically pay them, but technically it's like collateral. But they see that you have all this money. Okay, we'll give you the $1,000. The third reason why they're going to say yes is because of OPM. How many people have heard of that? Trust me, you've heard of it. It's a version of OPP, but it's OPM. Other people's money. Okay? All right. So other people's money. If you treat other people's money the way you treat the Bank of Stetson's money, if all three of those things line up, more likely you'll get a yes on that loan. You get that $1,000, and the Bank of Stetson says, okay, we'll give it to you with 7.2 interest. Oh, Jocelyn, the face says, I'm not happy with that. Okay. So, but you agree. You get the $1,000, right? The 7.2 interest. This is what we call a term loan. Term loan, it's for a certain amount of time. It's the same payment every single month, that period of time. So for this, we'll say this term loan is for 24 months. And now I'm not that good at math. Okay. I'm here to educate, but not do math. All right. But we'll say the $150 a month, right? And that includes the interest in that payment. Where did the Bank of Stetson get the money to loan Jocelyn? The other people in the bank, the other customers in the bank. So they took a little bit from your account, a little bit from your account, a little bit from your account, a little bit. We all chipped in for Jocelyn to have a great weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? We all chipped in. To be honest with you, it's our weekend as a group. We're all going. But Jocelyn got that $1,000 and it all came from everyone else's accounts. I see faces in the back. So they do put it back. Okay? They have to, because that would be thievery. That would be terrible, right? But how did they make their money? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you another question. Now they took money from us. Do we get a little reward because they borrowed a little bit?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the next thing I'm about to, and it's not a little reward. It's
using my money. Come on now.
okay. So I'm glad you following me. But how did the bank make the money though? The interest rate. So the money goes back to wherever account that they put it in, but the 7.2 is where the bank makes the profit. So interest is one way that financial institutions make money. The second way that financial institutions make money starts with an F. Anybody seen that maintenance fee before? Now, they're not cleaning up anything for you. Okay? You fail to maintain a certain amount in the account, which is the maintenance fee. Okay, that's you. That's how I interpret it. That's probably not really what it is, but that's how I interpret it. Okay? But maintenance fee is because you actually are below what the fine print says your account should stay at. So if the account says the minimum amount that you need to keep in this account without fees is $1,500, once it drops to $1,500, if you do not replace that, they will charge you a fee. And they will say maintenance in front of it. Overdraft fee. Anybody heard of that? Anybody seen that? Anybody felt that before? Okay. Overdraft fee is when you spend more than what you have, and then the financial institution charges you for that. They're saying because you spent $2 over, I'm gonna charge you $35 for that because I had to go get that from somebody that I didn't expect. Okay. Or I'm biting into my profits to cover your overdraft, right? So fees, interest, and there's one other way that financial institutions make money. Does anybody know? Also starts with an I. Investments. Perfect. Yes. So the third way that financial institutions make money, they invest their profit. They got to double it, triple it. They got to do whatever they can, especially over here. Okay. JP Morgan and Chase CEO gets paid $35 million a year. Roughly. Mind you, that was last year. So I don't know if it's gone up or not. I don't know if he did a good job. They're still the richest bank in America. So he's probably still getting paid that, if not more. Here's my point. That cycle is how they work. So they are taking the little pieces of money to loan out to you for a car payment, for a car loan, to you for a personal loan, to you for a mortgage, and they're charging interest and making it back. Now, you mentioned, what's your name? Linda mentioned not too long ago while I was explaining this, well, ain't I going to get a little some of that because you using my money? The truth is, yes. And I will tell you exactly how much if you're over here in this lane. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some great banks that have great percentages. But what, in your opinion, are the top banks in America? There's actually a list. Top 3 banks in America. JP Morgan Chase is number 1. Who do you think is number 2? They actually slipped down to number 4 last year. Yes, it's knocking them down. Number 2. Anybody know the second? Capital One is actually not number 2, which is crazy, isn't it? Because they're everywhere. Their commercials are everywhere, right? Bank of America is number 2. Number 3. Wells Fargo used to be number 3. They slipped down to number 4, and Citibank moved up into number 3. So those top 3 banks and national banks like them, if you ask them how much they're paying you on your bank account, they are going to pay you 0.01% to 0.04%. Let me tell you what that equates to. All of us put $1,000 in. At the end of the year, we would get 10 cents. I'll let that settle. So you're putting the money in, right? They're using the money and they're charging somebody 7.2%, but they're paying you 0.01%. Is everybody catching how it works now? How many of you have asked your bank how much interest they're paying you on your savings account? How many of you know how much they're paying you? No worries. That's in the homework. It's in the homework. No worries. Okay. So what happens is both of these institutions actually work the same. The difference here is we got to pay the CEO a crazy amount of money. We also have to pay the board of directors. Over here, the board of directors are volunteer. Okay. By the way, board of directors, that is a bonus job. That is not a main job. That's a bonus job. And these people are getting paid anywhere between $250,000 to $750,000 to come to a couple of quarterly meetings and make sure that the CEO is doing his job and that they're making profit and moving forward. Bonus job. Okay. Second, what this trickles down to is all this stuff happening up top trickles down to higher rates on that loan that we gave Jocelyn, 7.2%, and a lower rate on deposits that we were just talking about with Linda, where our savings accounts most likely are 0.01%. Okay. If you are at a credit union, now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say credit unions are good and banks are bad. No, there's online banks that give you great rates too. The difference is they don't have a brick and mortar. They're not physical. Okay, that's how they cut the overhead. But here on the credit union side, what you'll see is that $1,000 loans that Jocelyn took out could actually be maybe 4.5%. The payment, and this is real because I actually know these numbers, the payment on a savings account would be 3.5. That's an actual thing at Connex, by the way, because I know that number, right? And then you're not going to see as many fees because the whole point is to create financial stimulation in the community that credit union actually exists. So that's the difference. Any questions on that? Everybody kind of understand the way the financial institutions work. All right. By the way, investment banks work the same way. The difference is that they're not insured, whereas these two have to be. Okay. So next, let's talk about the difference in accounts. So primary accounts, your checking account and savings account. Everybody here has checking and savings, right? Is everybody aware that you can have multiple accounts and multiple institutions, as many as you like? Okay, want to make sure. Now, with that being said, let's talk about savings accounts. So I've added a couple little things here, all right? The first thing I want to go over is the first three kind of the concepts of savings accounts: retirement savings, emergency funds, and sinking funds. There's the definition for sinking funds, but let me ask you this. How many of us in the room have retirement savings? How many of us have those retirement savings tied to our job? How many of us have retirement savings that are not tied to the job that we just opened up ourselves? Okay. Well, you know how the hands got fewer and fewer? Okay, so here's the issue with that. When you quit a job, what happens to that 401k? It's your money. It sits there, but there's no more deposits into it. Okay? If you open up your own retirement savings account, nobody stops that. I don't know about y'all, but I like to be in control of my future. Okay? If I quit a job, don't quit a job, switch jobs, I'm investing into my own retirement. And that's what you can do at any financial institution. You can open up your own retirement savings. Which makes this a retirement savings account is the term. We just call it retirement savings accounts. They use them as retirement savings accounts, but it's the term. It's going to be a 30 to 35 year long time before you actually withdraw money. That's the thought process. If you withdraw money early, as in all things, there's a fee. Okay? Emergency funds. Everybody's familiar? Okay. Does anybody know the rule of thumb for an emergency fund? That's a good rule of thumb. That's not necessarily the common rule of thumb. Don't let the emergency fund be attached to other stuff. I agree. But the rule of thumb here is to save $500 to $1,000 as quickly as possible. All right. I always like to make this example because people feel it. Emergencies are $1,000. You need a root canal. It's $1,000. You need a tire. It turns into $4. You need $1,000, right? The washing machine for whatever reason, the washing machine without the dryer is $1,000. $1,000 is an emergency number. Okay. So 500 to 1,000 is your emergency funds. And then you want to build that up to 3 to 6 months of expenses. Okay. Now that seems daunting because if you actually tabulated your expenses, does anybody know what their expenses are in total for the month? I see your face over here like, yes, I'm upset about it. Right. And now if you actually multiply that by 3 or 6, it feels a little daunting. Okay. But here's why I think that this is important to go for. You get on workers' comp. How much do they pay you? 60%. Do your bills magically go to 60% because you're only getting paid 60%? No, your bills stay at 100%. The bill collector do not care about whether or not you're on workers' comp. You have to go take care of a loved one. Connecticut Family Leave does not pay you the entire amount of your income. It only pays a portion of it. So this is why something like this, you're creating your own insurance plan for yourself. This is you building it for yourself, you protecting yourself. Last but not least, sinking funds. Has anybody heard that term? So it's not necessarily the name of a type of account. It's a concept. The thought process here is that your money will be spent, whether you like it or not. And what I want you to know is that your money can be spent the way you want it to. And it doesn't have to be spent because it needs to. Everybody catch that? So sinking funds is just saying, I need this account to be for my saving for a house. I need this account to be my emergency fund. I need this account to save for my car. And I've just assigned that reason for these accounts. These are not accounts that you're paying bills out of. These are just accounts being saved for a specific reason. Okay? So with all of that being said, I want to share with you what is high yield. Has anybody heard of high yield before? Does anybody know exactly what that is though? Not really, but you've heard the term, right? So high yield specifically are accounts that are paying you in interest between 4 to 5%. Now, those numbers you don't generally see. That's why they're called high. High high yield, right? But I would say your savings account should be anything 2.4 and up. If it's anything below 2.4, please run away immediately because it's not doing nothing for you. All right. So anything between 2.4, 2.6 and up, go for it. All right. But 4 to 5%, you're going to see that at a credit union that's really got a lot to give. You're going to see that at an online bank, right? You're not going to see that at Bank of America. They just don't care. I'm just being real and honest. I don't know if you're going to publish this anywhere. Amir. I'm just being honest. I'm standing 10 toes down on that statement. I'm just being honest. They don't care. They're a national bank. They don't care. Because if you don't put their money there, they've got Chase, I believe, has 84 million individual customers, not businesses, not organizations, individuals banking with them. You think they care? They're going to pay you 0.01% and keep it moving because they know that 83.999 million people still going to bank with us, right? So you want to find something that works for you. Yes, go ahead. Yes, we do. So we have a savings account right now. It's called Pathway Savings, and it pays 3.5%. I have a Pathway Savings account. Okay. Because I was like, this other savings account is not going to work. Right. All right. So here's something that I would love to break down to you. All right. And all of those who are online and in person, you will actually be getting this deck from Wealth Beacon after this session is over. So here's a couple. Where should you save? Because people are like, well, where should I save? I don't know exactly. So let's start with basic savings. Basic savings accounts are a safe place where your money, you don't plan to spend it right away, but you want easy access to it. So this is the easiest, the quickest way to save. This is good for emergency funds, short-term goals, keeping money separate from spending. Okay. My Amazon people. All right. Over here, we have the retirement accounts. Those are what we mentioned before, but here's the difference. There's two types. There's a traditional IRA, and all that means is individual retirement account. And then there's a Roth IRA. What happens is with the Roth IRA, when you invest into it, right? So you deposit into that account, by the end of the term, when you start to withdraw from that account, you cannot be taxed. Here's why. Your 401k is in that line item before you get to the gross, right? Everybody's seen the pay stub and it's all these different deductions. If you see where the 401k is, it's taken out before the taxes. Okay. Right. Then once you take out from that 401k, you're going to be taxed as though it was income because it hasn't been taxed yet. But if you individually deposit into a Roth IRA, the government can't tax you twice on money. So you put the money in there, and when you're ready to take it out, they can't tax you. It's been taxed already. Everybody with me on that? Okay. Now, if you take it out early, once again, there's that F word, fee. Okay, there's going to be a fee. Certificate of deposit. So this is, to be honest with you, I feel like this is one of those things that people just really, they don't understand how much of a flex this is. This is where you flip your money. Okay. You build the money here. When you get to a certain place, you start flipping in these. Certificate of deposits, AKA the CD. All right. So certificate of deposits, you don't need the money right away. It's good for saving money you won't need right away and earning higher interest. These are usually high yield accounts. Now, therefore, they have a term, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, whatever. Okay. You put the money in. And what's beautiful about interest rates in the financial industry, they're compound. The more the money, the more you make. So somebody who puts $1,000 in a 6-month CD at the same time that somebody who puts $10,000 in the same CD at the same percentage rate, the person with $10,000 is going to make more money because there's more money in the account. Now, what's beautiful about this is that if you really need to pull up on the bank and say, where's my money? You could kind of do that because they agreed to pay you. Right? And so now they have money that they can use for what we were talking about, loaning to you, right? Because you're not touching it. Once again, you can withdraw it, but there's a fee early if you withdraw it early. Last but not least, this is another flex that people do not utilize. And sometimes because either they don't know about it or they don't have enough to start one of this. So I think if you kind of work this section really cool, you could start depositing money to a money market account. Has anybody heard of this? Yes. This is like, this is the thing. Okay. This is the thing. This is why. Now, the difference here is you have to start off at a higher amount. So sometimes the minimum amount is 10,000 or 20,000 or something like that. What's nice about this, it's different than this, is that there's not this long term on it. So you can have better access to it. And some banks, some of the bigger banks, will allow you to access your money market account from the ATM. Okay. What's beautiful about this is that it does need larger savings balances, but it's people who want higher interest, but still some access to their money. So these are great accounts. So if you work your way over here like a G, okay, you coming over here and you really flexing. All right. Money market accounts are really the way to go once you really start building your wealth. Any questions on those? Yes.
You're saying on the certificate of deposits,
Mhm.
if you take money out, now this is your money that's in the account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you take it out early,
Before the term is up,
they're going to charge
they're going to charge you a fee
charge you for your own money for taking it out.
because you agreed, you signed a contract that you were going to leave it there for a certain amount of
You
time.
have to sign a contract?
Yes. Actually, you sign a contract when you open up an account. That little pad that they have you sign, you're signing contracts, people. See, people just walk into a bank and start opening stuff. They ask you a bunch of questions. They're seeing if you owe any other financial institution money. And then once that, they have a whole bunch of fine print that nobody reads. And they ask you to take on that stupid little wannabe iPad and they have you scribble with this charcoal pencil on this thing. Look crazy, right? Where's the technology? Y'all got so much money. Where's the technology? Nope, no shade, right? And then you just signed a contract agreeing that my money will be utilized and you will secure my money. Okay. Remember, banks and credit unions are insured up to $250,000. All right. So all of this, it's where should I save? It depends on your goal. What are you trying to do? Are you just starting out? You start here, right? Once you build here, you start flipping. Now, granted, this is all my personal opinion, but trust me on this. You build here, you start flipping. Once you grow here, you start to move here. Mind you, your emergency fund savings should continue to go here. And as you build, you start funneling it through the accounts. Does everybody understand where I'm going with that? Okay. So day to day with your checking account. So how to use your checking account? Everybody knows that your checking account is connected to your debit card and connected to your check, right? Okay. This is a lot of people, I don't think realize, a lot of people said protect your numbers, right? So what are the most important numbers on your check?
I want to say dollar amount, but
No, the identifying numbers. Does anybody know?
make the physical check.
The physical check,
Any number,
the routing number, yeah? And then one other number on the bottom,
your account number.
your account number. So check me out. The routing number and the account number, if you blend those together, the shortcut number to those is the debit card number. Because the debit card is a digital version of your check. Okay? And it goes faster. So the check, you write the check, you give it to the person, they deposit it, they have to that bank has to communicate with the other bank, and then the cash is withdrawn, right? The debit card does it faster. The check and the debit card are the same. A lot of people don't realize that. Okay? So you are literally swiping your liquid cash. Every time you swipe and tap your life away, it's your liquid cash going out the bank. Feel me? So this is Grand Central Station, your debit account, your checking account. Your savings account should have purpose. But check this out. A lot of savings accounts aren't free. Believe it or not. You ever heard the term, if you open this checking account, it comes with a free savings account? Because they'll charge you a fee if it's not a free savings account. So you want to make sure that that's the case. All right. The other things that people take for granted, bill pay. Not every bank and credit union has it, by the way. You might be used to it if you with one of the big banks, but trust me, this is not always the case. And then e-statements. This is something that everybody's moving towards. Trust me, it's great to move to e-statements because if you don't, banks and credit unions have, these are just little tips. Banks and credit unions have moved to charging you for the e-statement. So when you see that $5 missing, that's because you got charged for the paper that they printed your statement on. They do that. That's crazy. But they do it. Okay, so those two things. Bill pay, by the way, is a flex. Does anybody use bill pay? Here and there? Okay. Let me advocate why bill pay is a flex. Bill pay, let me do it like this. What is the utility that everybody hates to pay? Yeah, UI. Does everybody agree? The electric bill, for whatever reason, just don't ever make sense, but you got to pay it to keep the lights on? Okay. So the UI bill, how do you pay your UI bill? You pay with bill pay. How else do you usually pay it? It's probably one or two ways. You pick up the phone or you go online. And when you do that, what do you enter? Your card information. What did I just tell you is the most important numbers? The routing number and the checking number, and the debit card is a shortcut of those numbers, right? When you give them that number, you have just done, check this out, the routing number, think of it like this, is the street in which the apartment building is on. The checking number is the apartment number. You've just given them the keys to your apartment to go in there whenever they like. If they have the keys, they can just go in, right? Bill pay, I want everybody to walk away today understanding that the bank works for you, okay? Bill pay, I tell the Bank of Stetson to pay UI on the 5th this amount of money. What just happened? What was the difference with those two scenarios? If I call them and give them my numbers versus me telling the bank to go pay them, you're in control. You've just shifted the power from allowing them to have keys and access to your account whenever they like to it's me. I'm determining when you get paid. To be honest with you, that you can do that. Your money is your money, people. All right. Has anybody ever in life been upset if somebody came to them, say, I owe you $100? Would you be upset if I said, you know what? I can't pay you the whole $100, but I can pay you $10 a day? Would you be upset? Kinda, but you getting paid though, right? So what would your response be? Okay, right? Okay, I guess, right? I guess, because you paying me. The biggest problem that we have in this community, we don't communicate. If you pick up the phone and just tell them, I can't pay you on the 5th, but I can pay you on the 10th, what do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, fine. They're literally not going to say no. They might do the little threatening thing. Well, I'm going to shut off well, then shut the service off then, but it ain't coming to the 10th. I'm just saying, okay, that's me though. I'm aggressive. Okay. Cause I ain't gonna let nobody debo me into doing something I can't do, right? You can't, I don't have the money until the 10th, right? My point is that they're not going to say no. All you have to do is communicate. Most people get anxious, get stressed out, they get overwhelmed, and they don't say anything until they have the money in their hand. If you just called and made an arrangement, you could also call and ask for the late fee to be waived. People just don't ask. Okay. So those are the differences in accounts. Any questions so far? Check more time. Okay. So let's align with our core values. So this is a question to everybody, including my visitors online. What do you value most? So you can pick one of these, but I want you to also, if you have a pad and pen, I want you to write it down because this is going to be the core of what we're going to do over the next 6 weeks. Security, freedom, family, education, legacy, adventure, health, faith, comfort, growth, generosity. How do your current spending habits support or conflict with these values? So if you just had to give me one of those right now, what is a value that you have right now? What is the thing that you want to focus on? Faith. Okay. Anything else? I've had quite a people, quite legacy. Okay. I've had quite a few people say to me, freedom. Anything else? Any values up there that resonate with you? Growth. Okay.
I would even say comfort.
Comfort. Just
Be able to do what I want to do.
right. Okay. So comfort, faith, growth, it all comes down to using money as a tool. Okay. Building your own insurance plan, not relying on anybody else to do it for you. That's what we're talking about. Now, if you thought about this, I'll give you a simple example. Do your spending habits actually support or actually oppose those values? So if I heard somebody say legacy. If your goal was legacy, do you have a savings account? Because legacy means that you putting stuff together so that you can leave it for somebody else, right? So do you have a savings account, or have you gone through the motions to understand what are the steps to creating a trust? Or are you building legacy with your business? Are you doing everything you can to make sure that expands and that can be passed on? And then my question to you is, when you go to the gas station, are you just getting gas? Or do you walk inside and get something else too? The bag of chips, the gum, the energy drink, all the stuff that wasn't in the budget. You budgeted for $40 for gas and you walked inside. Nobody told you to do that. You walked inside of your own accord and bought a whole bunch of snacks. Surcharge people. You could have went to Walmart for that. Okay. We can budget for snacks if you need snacks. You don't gotta get snacks from the gas station. Right. But what do? We always do an extra. Right. So do our spending habits actually correlate to our spending, to our values? All right. So please take time to think about it. It doesn't have to even be what's on the board, but I do want you at some point to actually identify what are your core values. All right. So we talked about the check situation. And hold on. And by the way, this is the routing number and checking number on the bottom. And we all know where the card number is on the card. So using your debit card. The reason why I emphasize this is because using a debit card is different than a credit card. People get a credit card, they spend on the credit card, and then they still spend on the debit card. Okay. Credit card is a loan. All right. This is you need to think of this like cash every time you swipe and tap it. All right. Everybody has that mobile app. Everybody has the mobile app for their institution, right? There's two numbers at the top, available and current. Okay. The current number is the big, beautiful number on top, right? The available number is smaller and it's beneath the current number. I'm going to need all my Thursday got paid, Monday wake up, don't know what happened, people, to start looking at the available number. Okay. Because we're looking at the current number thinking life is sweet. And come Monday, what happened? I don't know what happened. And now we gotta borrow between our own accounts to pay bills, right? Okay. So please be aware. This is like cash. All right. Every time you tap and swipe. All right. My favorite part. So this is the wealth pyramid: savings, debt management, cash flow. I'm going to put this question out to my people online. I'm going to put this question to the room. Which one of these triangles do you think is the most important factor in building wealth? Somebody said David management, savings. Anybody else? Any response from anybody online? Which one do they think? No. I hear debt management and savings. Any other thoughts? Most important to building wealth.
Cash flow, how your money coming in so you can save it to build your wealth.
That's true. Okay, I can see that. Cash flow. So guess what? All three of these are important. But debt management is how you position yourself to be wealthy. Owning a house, what are you in? Debt. Owning real estate, what are you in? Debt. Owning a business, what are you usually in? Debt. Even if you make a profit, you owe somebody something, right? Right? My point is if people feel like debt management is bad, the word debt makes people feel bad. How many people agree that has a negative connotation? Okay. Debt management is actually not bad. We've been conditioned to believe it is. Debt management, healthy debt management, good debt management, you can leverage that by leveraging other people's money with your financial reputation, meaning you pay people back, and leverage that to actually make a profit, just the way financial institutions do. They're leveraging other people's money to make money. So who says you can't do that? Okay. All right. So debt management is actually one of the biggest cornerstones of building wealth. All right. I'm going to give you a brief example. So debt management, we're very simple numbers, people. I am not accounting for taxes, labor, or any of those things. Okay. So just follow the example, not the numbers specifically. All right. So my man Jose over here, he got $250,000 in the bank, right? He wants to be a millionaire. He's tired of being a thousandaire, right? Absolutely. Okay. So he wants to invest. He has a great relationship with the Bank of Stetson. He fits the criteria, those first three things, right? And he goes, I need a $3 million loan. I want to build a 250 unit apartment building. And in New Haven, we all know what that looks like downtown, those numbers, right? Okay. On average, each apartment is $2,500. He borrows $3 million. The bank says yes. So check out these numbers. How often do we pay rent? Once a month. So if each apartment is $2,500 on average, times the 250 apartments, that's $625,000 a month if he fills his apartment building. Within a year, he can actually pay that money back to the bank, which actually leaves him with $7.5 million. Pays back the bank the $3 million. He's made about 4.5. Once again, I am not accounting for labor and taxes and all that good stuff. The concept is he's leveraged other people's money in order to make money. Let me ask the room a question. Did he ever touch his $250,000 in that scenario? No, he did not. That is leveraging your debt management, your financial reputation, right? And leveraging your debt to actually make a profit without touching his own liquid cash. He borrowed somebody else's money to make the investment happen and then made the profit. So that's an example of that's a simple example of how you can leverage it. Any questions so far before I move forward? We only got a couple more slides. Using fintech. Has anybody heard of fintech before? You have. It's just fancy for financial technology. It's Cash App. It's Venmo. It's Zelle. Cash App, by the way, is moving like a real bank because they are now backed by Sutton Bank and JP Morgan Chase. When they first opened, they were not. That's why people had stuff in the Cash App and then did not have stuff in the Cash App and couldn't go to nobody and tell nobody nothing. Right? The support wasn't there. So Cash App is now backed by banks. So that's why they have that little savings bank on the side. They said you can earn this interest because now they're backed by banks. Venmo is just a cash sharing tool. Zelle, very smart, has taken their concept, their technology, and moved from an app to now actually licensing their product, their tech product, to banks and credit unions. So you're no longer going to see this as an app. You'll see this as an option in your bank app. How many people have Zelle in their bank app? Okay, Zelle sold their licensing to that bank or credit union. So this is financial tech. And there's nothing wrong with it. Chime, and there's one other one, Credit Karma. Those are still, they have bank components. So there's nothing wrong with financial tech. Just depends on whether or not it works for you. Okay. So let's break it down. It's the last thing I want you to focus on. SMART goals, everybody. So many people have financial goals like save more money or pay off debt, but those goals can feel overwhelming if they aren't clearly defined. So SMART goals help us turn intentions into realistic plans. So what are SMART goals? I'm going to break it down. We got to get specific. SMART goals, specific. Your goal should clearly state what you want to accomplish. So instead of I want to save money, try I want to save $500 for an emergency fund. being specific. Okay? Measurable. You should be able to track your progress. Instead of pay down my debt, pay $50 towards my credit card balance each month. All right? Achievable. Your goal should be realistic for your situation. So instead of save $10,000 in 2 months, save $25 per week for the next 3 months. Trust me, people think $25, $50, they don't, trust me, it means something because you spend $25 at Dunkin' Donuts a week. You at Starbucks doing some extra stuff. $6 tea don't make sense, people. Come on. All right. Just make it at home. Okay. I stopped my foot on that. Just make it at home. Okay. Don't make sense. So $25. Think about your Starbucks expenditures and put that in a savings account. High yield, by the way. Relevant. Your goal should connect to something meaningful in your life. Examples: building an emergency fund, improving credit, saving for a car or home, creating financial peace. Here's where I'm going to get even more specific. Improving credit so that I can open a business, my business. Improving credit so I can have a lower interest rate on the car refinance. Okay? Making sure it's relevant to your goals. And this is actually what we discussed with values, right? Last but not least, time bound. Every goal should have a deadline or time frame. Instead of eventually save for emergencies, please do not eventually do that. Save $500 in an emergency fund within 6 months. Okay? Budget for it. Any questions on that? So that is a SMART goal, right? Those are SMART goals. So design your SMART goals, turning values into action. What's one financial goal you want to accomplish in the next 6 months? Does anybody have a specific goal that they're looking to accomplish? Yes. Okay. I'm so happy I said what I said then. Well, I love that. What kind of business are you looking to open?
Not sure.
Okay, you're not sure. Well, you know, our 5th week is all about opening a business. So I do hope to see you there. So I want to thank you for your time and attention tonight. Next steps: list all your bank accounts, identify which bank account will pay the bills. Here's where people go wrong. They have their fund money and their bill money coming from the same account. And what always happens, it becomes funny money because you got to figure out where else you're going to get money from to pay stuff. Okay. So please list all of your bank accounts and then identify which bank account will be the bill paying bank account. All right. This bank account is just for paying bills. This is my fund money. This is where, I'm not going to feel guilty if I go in the gas station and get, that chocolate bar or whatever. I recommend you don't. But if you do, it was in the fund money. No shame. Okay. Note if accounts are being paid interest and how much. So here's a tip. Most checking accounts, because they're like Grand Central Station, a lot of money's going in, a lot of money's coming out. They don't have interest rates on checking accounts. Capital One does, by the way, but not a lot of banks do. It's typical not to have an interest rate at all on a checking account because money moves too often. But savings accounts, that's where you want to check. All right. So look at all your accounts, call your bank, walk into the branch, ask them, interest am I getting paid on this account? They work for you. Okay. List your core values and determine if you are spending like they matter. Okay. My French fry moment last week. I was not spending like it mattered. Okay. I spent $10 in French fries. I spent $17 a month on a gym membership. It's ridiculous. What was I doing? What was I doing? That was definitely a moment of insanity. Decide what is one SMART goal you can commit to for the next 6 months. I'm serious about this. This is what we're looking to do. We're looking to change the landscape of your financial goals. Pick one goal. It don't got to be everything. All right? Because trust me, once you get this down, you can apply this to everything. Okay? I started off really rough after I left my corporate job. When you have more than what you need, life feels real good, right? And then when you don't, you realize you had no structure. I'm speaking from personal experience. I had no structure, right? Because now I didn't have the room that I had before. And so now I had to really dig deep. Okay, are my spending habits really looking the way they should? Okay. So that's what I would love for you to do. You can scan the QR to connect with Connex. If you would like, a plan, become a member. Now, mind you, If you're looking to go through this entire series, we're doing mobile banking at the end of this particular series where we will be supporting you opening up an account with us, meaning that the $25 that opens up your member account, we would actually be covering that. So if you stay with this group for the 6 weeks, then you'll be able to do that on the 6th week. But if you scan in, you have specific questions about first-time home buyers, auto loans, things of that nature. You can scan that code and connect with us. Outside of that, are there any other questions for tonight?
I did have one about
Yes,
the certificates.
certificate of deposits, CDs. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So I know there's a fee that you pay or taxes you pay if you take it out early, but do they have different
It's a fee,
time
not
frames?
taxes. hmm
Okay, fee. So is there different time frames, or is it just that retirement age, or how does that?
So you're mixing up a couple of different things.
Okay,
So the retirement one is the IRAs.
right.
Okay.
Mhm.
CDs are specific accounts that only last a certain amount of time. So you pick it. So the bank and the credit union will put out certain promotions. Like, at one time last year, we put out a promotion that we had a 6-month CD for like 4.25%. People were going crazy. Right. So percentages, interest rates change on everything month to month with banks and credit unions. So depending on their promotion, so you ask, and then you ask what's the minimum I can put into that CD? And some will say 500, some will say 1,000, some will say 1,500. Sometimes it's 2,500, depending on the bank or credit union, what the promotion is. So you just ask those details.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Well,
You can only have one CD per institution.
you can have as many CDs. Listen, if you want to, you go ahead and make that money, okay? You have as many CDs as you like. It don't matter. As many CDs as you like. Look, you can have as many accounts as you like, of course, as many institutions as you like. Nobody can tell you what to do with your money. Once again, your money is your money. I don't care who you owe. All right? Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I hope to see you next week. We'll be speaking specifically about budgeting, so get your paper together. Make sure you have an idea of what you spend because we're workshopping through it. We're not just talking about it. We're actually workshopping through it, getting our budgets together and really deciding what works for you.